Colin Digits. I'm here live in the Digits Club for the first time. DigitsPad live overview of the allocation pools, the first sneak peek. This doesn't mean it will go live already, but it does mean that the platform is ready to be activated as soon as the agents are minted. It's right now on a test server. So if you go to digitspad.com, you will not see what you're seeing, what I'm seeing, basically. But what you will see when it goes live is the full different options of the pools. So when we go to pools, we have the upcoming pools. As you can see, there are none. We have active pools. We have some example for you. And then we have the finished pools. You'll be able to see the project name, the project type, the race, your allocation, the Launchpad partner, if applicable, and then the date. For the project type, DigitsPad offers 3 different types of projects, which makes it extremely unique because not only will we cover allocation projects, there will also be a large variety of whitelist spots that are available and different NFT projects, all available through your points. So I have an insane amount of testing points, more than 2 million points. So I can basically participate in any pool that I like on the test server, of course. Well, let's have a look. So when you open a specific pool, there is, so this is called stellar participation. It's called participation, so I know which round is on when I show you guys. There's obviously the big title of the project, a nice little icon, obviously at that time PNG, and we have the different socials, right? Different websites, white papers, Twitter, Discord, GitHub, whatever they have, we will show you here. So with one click of a button, you can do your research on the project. In addition, are there 3 rounds that will be completed per allocation pool? We have the participation round. So in this round, when the timer is active, you have the option to participate. If the timer expires, the pool will automatically move to the next round, which is where you can get your allocation. Once the timer then expires again, you will have the distribution where you can basically collect once the TGE has occurred. What is very important in this case is that each of these pools open, close on the different round types will be communicated in the Digitsclub Discord and on Twitter. So you don't have to be actively on this page all the time. The time and dates are basically pre-set up. On the left-hand side, you have the project information, the name, the symbol, the decimals, the address, the total supply, the initial market cap. Of course, these are all dummy numbers right now. You will also see the different vesting rounds. So from seed to strategic to private to public, and it will let you know which round that we are raising. So you can always have a look. What are the other prices of the other rounds and what is their vesting like? Obviously, quite an important decision, part of the information for your decision making. So the Launchpad partner, if applicable, and then the total raise and the chain that the money is going to be raised on. You have assigned points 0. You click basically on participate and you can fill your allocation. I have 2.3 million points. The minimum allocation point here is 1 and the maximum is 1,000. So I basically put, let's say 100, and then I submit. It will tell me that I participated successfully and my points have changed to 100. I can no longer participate. So make sure that you put the amount of points you have correctly. You cannot obviously put more points than you actually have. It will error. You cannot submit less than a minimum. It will error. You need to have the right amount of points. So in this case, I put 100 points. I have 2.3 million points and it's deducted from my point count. You cannot do it again. So make sure you do it once and you do it properly. Now we wait for the timer to run out. Once the timer runs out, we basically go to the next step. let me see, this is the allocation round. Of course, this is now the active pool in terms of time, so it would have to be updated. Where we reload the page now. Okay. And is it this one? No. So team is texting me that they're trying to do it now. The preview. Otherwise, it's not important. Okay, there we go. It's ready. So now it's on the second step, right? The demo is, of course, just me participating. So I'm magically speeding up the timer. So all of a sudden, 18 hours have passed, and we're now on the allocation round, right? So as I said before, every time you need to wait for the timer to hit 0 before it jumps to the next round. So now 18 hours have passed. We're in the next round, round 2, the allocation. There is 100 points. The exchange rate will basically show, in this case, 1 BUSD is X amount of points, right? Whatever that point count might be. And then you can basically fill your allocation. It will show you the amount in BUSD you can commit, and then your wallet, you can change it. Then you can basically hit fulfill with MetaMask. Once you have entered the amount, your MetaMask will prompt, and you can basically fulfill your allocation that way. It will automatically be counted and shown here. Then we go to the distribution and it shows a claim link. Usually it will say claim link to be announced, of course, right? Because once we do the raise, there's no claim link yet. And once the claim link is made available, a notification is sent out, and the claim link will be available here with the button. You can click it and it will go to the destination where you can claim your tokens. So it's actually a super, super simple process. In 3 simple steps, all you have to do is wait. What is important is if you get your allocation signed, but you don't fill your allocation, then there is a penalty in place where we take your points. Very important. We can adjust the penalties accordingly. We can take a percentage of your points. We can take all your points. We can give you minus points, because obviously the people that are actually going to allocate towards the project are getting guaranteed allocation. If you get guaranteed allocation, of course, you need to fill this. Otherwise, you're taking a reserve on the allocation from other people, and we don't like that. So if you ask for allocation, if you submit your points, then we take your points nonetheless. Even if you don't fill your allocation, you're going to get an additional penalty where we take more points as a little punishment for being greedy and not filling the allocation. So it's very important. That's why we send out notifications on Twitter, internally, Discord, that you're up to date on when pools open, when pools close, and everything is announced beforehand, before the partition round starts. So you can always be on time, etc., etc., etc. So that shouldn't be a problem. I'm just putting it out there so everybody knows, right? It's quite important. Let's say for whatever reason, we have a $1 million race, right? And we only fill 800,000. Now there's 200,000 left over. So the guaranteed round then becomes first come, first serve. On the first come, first serve, you can get more allocation for a different exchange rate. So still you need to contribute points, but you might have less points per allocation. So it's actually cheaper in terms of points. It's not recommended to wait for this because we have set up the economy in such a way that all of the first dozens of pools will sell out almost guaranteed. Right? So if it might happen that we have a huge race, you might have an additional benefit with the first come, first serve round, but the system is set up not to use this in the general process. So once you commit the points are set up to give an indication on the amount. Right? So of course, it depends on how many people are going to participate, what your final allocation will be. We can never front you the allocation, but if for every project, let's say 10 points is $50 allocation, right? And you put 1,000 points, you get, let's say, $5,000 allocation. You know you can't fill this, don't put that many points, right? So that's how the system works. What it also means, Matt, it's a good question. You only have to fill the minimum requirement. So there's a minimum and maximum you can have in terms of allocation. So when you do, in that case, participate in a round, just put the minimum. If you know, if there's leftover allocation, you can always join the first come, first serve, but that's a good question. How do you know how many points you use for a certain project? Marco, that's also a good question. You don't know. So in the white paper, there's a section called fair share model. The more people participate, the lower your allocation, the more points are being shared, right? It's all relative to the total points committed to the pool, relative to the total race, relative to the average weight. So it's basically the same how all other launchpads work. However, in this case, you don't hold a token, which is obviously great. All you need to do is allocate points, which is great because you get them for free by staking your agent NFT, right? So again, Peter, third time answering this question. The points, the exchange rate is calculated on a weighted average. If you want to see the formula, go to the Digits brands white paper. You can read there what the formula is like. The formula is your allocation is the points committed divided by the total points. And that's basically what you get. So in some pools, let's say there is a $10,000 race. If there's nobody participating, right, and only you and 9 others who all do the same amount of points, you get $1,000, right? Let's say there's $10,000 people participating on a $10,000 pool. You guys do all the same amount of points, right? Everybody gets $1 allocation, right? So it's very much important that if there's a high interest project, you need to bring more points. If there's a lower interest project, you can afford to commit less points. That's basically how it's structured. So the allocation pools are extremely simple. There will not be a leaderboard in terms of the points because the points are not generated on DigitsPad. The points are actually generated on the mainframe. If I understood correctly, points are accumulated by day. How will this work in the beginning? So as I said, the points are not generated on DigitsPad. The points are generated on the Digits mainframe. And from the mainframe, you can send them around the ecosystem. There will be a separate AMA on how the agents generate points and how you can send it around the ecosystem. Here, I just want to show you the pools. And as we have more than enough time, we can talk about the pools, the points, how everything works several times. Right now, I just want to show you the actual Launchpad and all the features that it has. So we have gone over the allocation pools. This is the first come, first serve. Let's have a look at what it would look like if you would do an NFT. So here we have a very cool dragon NFT. I'm not familiar with this collection, but basically this is for one NFT, as it says. And there's a timer again. So you can basically participate with your bid. So the next minimum bid is 10. So I'm going to put 10 and place my bid in terms of the points. The highest bid is now 10. And my wallet placed 10 points. Right, on this date and this time. Duly note, there is a zero Launchpad fee, right? In the case where there would be a Launchpad fee for any like administrative cost, it would be displayed here. In that case, it costs points. And at the end, you'll be asked to make this payment if that's necessary. So now other people are bidding 25 points, 35 points. So if I want to continue, because I want this NFT, I need to bid 45 points. So I'm going to bid 45 points, and now the highest bid is again mine, 45 points. And this basically continues until the timer runs out. The person at that point which has the highest bid, right, those points will be subtracted from your account, and that person will be requested to confirm their wallet, and then the NFT will be airdropped into their wallet. So this is quite a dynamic system where we basically auction the NFT, which in this case is one sometimes might be multiple ones, and you can basically participate with your points in order to see where things are going. So in this case, obviously, I am the winner with 45 points. The timer has expired, and I can now claim. I can do this by submitting my wallet, and then the team will airdrop me my precious NFT, which is obviously great. How would it work? So in case with one whitelist spot, the whitelist works the same way. It's also with the bidding system, but you can also have multiple winners. So based on the terms of the project, let's say in this case, we have 3 whitelist spots, there might be several winners, depending on how many spots there are. Some projects will allow the whales to come in. So let's say 3 whitelist spots or 3 NFTs, 1 winner. So one person can win all 3, one person can win 2, and another person wins 1. We manually control per pool who can win how many. In that case, obviously, sometimes you can only win 1, but if we have 20 whitelist spots, it would be nice for a whitelist to have 20 winners, right? However, if we have 20 NFTs, it might go up to 4 NFTs per winner, right? So as long as you're in the top 20, maybe even if there's less winners, of course, top 20 bids, and you have 4 bids, you still are able to get 4 NFTs out of the pool of 20. Max is asking, so if it's points for NFTs, it is just points, no need to pay anything else. Yes. So as I said before, if we go back to a different NFT pool, so this one is already the winner, but the different settings, because now the timer has expired. If you remember correctly, when it showed the pool, it said Launchpad fee. And on this one, it said zero Launchpad fee. So on almost all the projects, there's a 0 Launchpad fee, unless we need to pay something to get the NFT. In that case, there will be a Launchpad fee. But of course, if we would bring, let's say, a Carrefour NFT of 1 Ethereum, right, and there's a $100 Launchpad fee, it's still an extremely good deal, and it will be a very competitive pool, right, in that case. With Launchpad fees, of course, they would only be utilized just to compensate the cost that we're generating. Again, here is where you basically see the Launchpad fee, if it's applicable. I can tell you right now, 90% of the time, it will not be applicable. Okay. Emerson is asking, what if I bid 100 points and the other person also bids 100 points? So you cannot bid the same thing as another person because the increment on this project is 10. Sometimes the increment might be 1. Sometimes the increment might be 20. We set this per project, but it will always tell you the next minimum bid is 55, so 10, 10, 10, 10. You can do more than 10, right? But not less than 10 points. Sometimes it's 1, right? So usually for the whitelists, the increment is 1, or for NFTs, the increment is 5. The only option that you have is when you can win multiple NFTs, but yet the bid cannot be the same. So you can, if you could win 5 NFTs, you could do 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, and you can win 5 NFTs. Let's say you can win only 1 NFT. If I put 100, I cannot put 101. I need to wait for somebody to outbid me before I can bid again. This is obviously so people in the last second don't spam the tool and basically glitch it, right? So once you hold the first position, then how it goes. So you just throw in the highest bid 1 second before and win the NFT as an online auction. Marco, that would be the option. But obviously, if you're a person holding a lot of points, then you can basically outcompete everybody by putting in a high bid on the first second and nobody else can bid because they don't have the points, right? That's the whole idea. The main thing is that it's powered, the platform is powered by points. And you have a competitive advantage. So if you have, let's say, 10 points, it would be very stupid to wait until the last second because it's extremely likely that a whale will just put 100 and then if they really, really want the NFT, right? And then nobody else can outcompete them. So yes, there will obviously always be a strategy that you can use, Either you jump in on the last second, the last 10 second, the last minute, the last hour. And these pools have usually like a 48, 72-hour runway. So you can basically customize your own strategy that you would like to use in order to out-genius everybody else. However, time will tell what will be the best scenario. We have a lot of options, right? We have a lot of control. So we could even say you can only bid once every 10 seconds, blah, blah, blah. In that case, we can wreck people's strategies while we balance the economy, because the balancing of the economy is obviously very important, because we will have many pools, right? Allocation, whitelist, NFTs. We can offer a lot of things other launchpads can't offer, right? So when we go live, once the agents are minted, you obviously need to accumulate some points. But basically, immediately right off the get-go, you will see several pools in the upcoming list where there will be active events basically every week, where most launchpads currently do one project a month or 2-3 projects maximum on the more reputable launchpads. We have the opportunity to bring you continuous amounts of fun, but it also means, very important, that you choose your projects properly, because as soon as you run out of points, it's a waiting game, right? At that point. Max, the points are in the white paper, but that obviously is subject to change depending on how. So before we had the staking on DigitsPad, we're now moving the staking to the mainframe. So as I mentioned before, I will do a separate AMA on how the staking works, how you can move your points around in the ecosystem, what are the requirements, and also what are the pros and cons to moving the points, right? How does that work? I will basically go in very much detail how all that works. In terms of refunds on points, if you obviously don't win an NFT, we only consume the points that you have allocated for an NFT, right? So only the winner, we take their points. On allocation projects, once you have assigned the points are consumed because you're granted allocation. Whether you fill the allocation or not is not up to us. We trade in the first round the allocation on the participation round, and then we consume your points, basically. That's good to know. But winner for whitelist or the NFT, it's point-based, right? And the points is obviously huge, right? Because you can imagine how many products there are in the ecosystem. So there's basically 3 different variations on DigitsPad, and there's so many more products that utilize these points. So it will definitely be bullish to sit on a big bag of points, at least at some point, to be able to get advantage of everything. Sergey, the more NFTs I stake on the mainframe, the more points I get. Yes. And are there any restrictions? Depends on what would be restrictions, right? There will obviously always be. So one thing that is very important to keep in mind is that we balance the economy, right? So we supply the points and we create demand with our products. And there has to be a good balance between the two. So the question, how many points do we yield? How does that work? That works on an active economy, where I will explain how the staking works and how many points you will yield and how many points you would utilize. But at some point in the future, we might have to update the point system, because either there's more users, there's less users, there's more pools, there's less pools. Of course, if we would bring 1 project a week, then you guys need a lot less points than when we bring 100 projects a month, which would be basically 25 projects a week, right? In that case, because you can spend a lot more points. So maybe we should give you some more points to run up the economy. Because if you have to increase every time by 1 point, it might be easier to do increments of 10. But that would mean you also need to yield 10 more points. That is obviously my problem and my headache to deal with. You guys will just have the ease and comfort that everything will be thought out, everything is mapped out. And as you can see, we have a very unique product not available anywhere else. And all you have to do is migrate your points to the mainframe, from the mainframe to DigitsPad, and then from DigitsPad participate in the pools. That's basically what it comes down to. Easy, only took me 30 minutes to explain. What are we thinking? How bullish are we? How bullish are we? I can't even type anymore. Yeah, so I can't even finish my sentence. Everybody too bullish. All right, good. Yeah, the main focus here is that it's obviously extremely structured. It's extremely fair for everything. And oh, well, Surgeon Blast has a good question. Will you be able to review the projects? Yes. So because the DigitsPad integrates with the Digitsclub, all the pool information is sent to the Digitsclub. It would obviously make a lot of sense if then the Digitsclub team gets these projects on an AMA, we do a thorough review of the assets, but most important is obviously that we will never shield them, right? So although we do take the projects to the launch on the Launchpad through a partner, right? So it's always like a middleman there. We will never shield anything. So basically the edgy part there is not to review them and then destroy their project, because obviously that wouldn't be too convenient. Also ensures that when we bring projects to DigitsPad, you know kind of that they're no-brainers, right? So for the allocation part, I think we're good. For the NFTs, that's just free anyway, right? So that's great. And then on the whitelist, we'll always put it like do your own research kind of thing there. I think that is very important because those will be opportunities that we will sometimes review, sometimes we won't. Allocation pools, we will always review, right? So allocation pools will always be reviewed, but you need to have an agent because you need access to Digitsclub in that case to basically watch the reviews, watch the AMAs. At that point, they will also no longer be public. Very important, unless there's a specific intent to do so, of course. But as I mentioned on the Digitsclub AMA before, it will be a closed, gated community, which means that we keep everything nice inside for our little ecosystem. Are allocations always coming in via the Launchpad? Yes, Michael. We will not host any rounds outside the pad because there's no reason to. This is a lot more convenient. Everything is automated, right? It's decentralized. We capture your TXID. It's all automated. Nobody has to be in charge of it. There will be a person who's able to verify all the information, that there's no duplicates and there's no bugs, but there's like an error log, and everything is basically set up for scale. So this Launchpad at scale should be able to run with about 5,000 users, but we're going to start small. We're going to bring high quality projects that you can participate in. Why? Because you're early, right? And then there's no reason for us to scale it to the moon within the first couple of weeks. We can take our time, focus on the quality, and we'll bring the quantity anyway, because we get 3 different types of pools. Any questions? Mika has a question. So Mika, on the question on the weighted average and the points, I will refer you to the white paper. It has several examples. You will never be penalized for allocation that you cannot fill because it's unrealistic, right? There's a system in place with a minimum and maximum point system. So it's extremely unlikely that you would get a way too high allocation if you don't have that type of points. The whales have high points and they will get high allocation because of it. And basically that's the equilibrium point. So the penalty will only be taken into place. Let's say you get $100 allocation, right? And you fill $80, that's fine. You don't have to fill the entire allocation that you get. That's a choice, right? But there is a minimum. So if you do get $100 allocation and the minimum is 20, you cannot fulfill less than 20. If you fulfill less than 20 or not anything, then you get the penalty, right? So there's a lot of wiggle room. We let you breathe. It's all good because the allocation you don't fill will go to the first come first serve round and somebody will pick it up, because obviously always likely people want more allocation, right? So I'll be there behind my computer. The second that the round closes, I will basically take your allocation. On the second round, so participation is the first pool, allocation is the second round, and that's where you are announced the exchange rate and your allocation. When will this work? It is working right now. I'm showing you. However, your question is probably when will it launch? The Launchpad will go live the day the agents are minted. Of course, at that point, you don't have any points. However, it's all thought out by this big, giant brain. But yeah, it will be a couple of weeks. The great thing is that there will be an announcement on the agents very soon. So everything stacks up and we're all super happy. Cam has a question. It's a little off topic, but also relevant still. What happens if we can't fill the 3 pools? There is a VC behind the Launchpad, which can fill all the pools. So that's not a problem. Are the DigitsPad projects set up in the vesting tracker? Yes. How can we help? You can help by getting yourself a Digits Agents NFT or a Digits Allocation NFT, which are available. One is not available right now. The other one is available on OpenSea. Is there an airdrop of points? That answer is no. I don't see any reason to airdrop any points. The first come, first serve, does it require points as well? Yes. However, because it's leftover allocation, there will be a different exchange rate, which is important to note. So where $5 might be 1 point, in the first come, first serve, $5 might be 0.8 points, which means you have a 20% discount on your points, not on the allocation. The allocation still costs the same money. You just have to spend less points for more allocation. That's the only difference. Projects are coming via partner Launchpad, and will there be a vote? The voting will not be done by the agents. There will be a governance system, but it will look different than how it will look right now. That's all I can say. Until we discuss the mainframe, that is where we will discuss governance voting. Projects are coming via partner Launchpads. They're coming via partners. It doesn't mean only Launchpads. So partners include direct games, which host their own allocation, VCs, Launchpads, marketing agencies, basically any partner that will sign our agreement with terms for DigitsPad. That's basically how it goes. And actually, they don't sign an agreement for DigitsPad, they sign an agreement for Digits brands. So the projects that we attract will be active in the entire ecosystem, not just DigitsPad. Very important. Again, Futuro, I recommend you to read the white paper on how the allocation works, because I've discussed it 5 times right now, and apparently it's not super clear. I understand, because it's a mathematical equation, but in the light paper, there is an example, and it's discussed how it specifically works. Good news is that the light paper will also be extended with more examples, more information. One thing is for sure, the king of the hill will definitely be the person who has the most points, or the one that saves the most points, by picking their projects carefully. Any other questions before we go today that I can answer for you on DigitsPad? Staking goes through the mainframe. How that works, I will explain later. Governance goes through the mainframe. How that works, I will explain later. I think we should do a mainframe AMA next week. That would be cool. The different type of pools, allocation, NFT, whitelist. Sometimes there are more than one winner on the NFTs in the whitelist, depending on how many you can get. It will always be announced beforehand on the website of DigitsPad, on Twitter, and of course, inside the Digitsclub Discord. Complementary to the allocation pools that we host, we will also cover those with content in terms of video reviews and AMAs. A nice little summary at the end. I hope you guys are as bullish as me. This is looking amazing. Again, I'm super proud of the Digits Brands team, how quickly and with such high quality they were able to deliver this project in just a matter of weeks. It hasn't even been months. These guys are doing an amazing job. Now onwards they go to the mainframe to make sure everything is ready for the agents. I'll be in touch very soon with the next AMA, where likely we're going to discuss the mainframe. If you have any questions about the DigitsPad, head over to the Digitsclub Discord and feel free to ask your question in the general chat. I'll be sure to have a look. Thank you so much for being here once more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.